Sometimes you notice it in the smallest moments. You're alone. Nothing bad is happening. No crisis. No real problem. And yet your mind quietly drifts back to something heavy. An old memory. A feeling. A version of yourself you thought you'd outgrown. Here's what nobody talks about. Sometimes sadness doesn't arrive. Sometimes it's invited. Not consciously, not on purpose, but in subtle ways. The music you choose, the thoughts you replay, the emotional corners you keep revisiting. From the outside, it looks like overthinking, or negativity, or someone who can't let go. But this is where it gets interesting. Your brain is not designed to chase happiness. It's designed to chase what's familiar. And neuroscience shows that every emotional state you spend time in becomes wired into your nervous system. Neurons that fire together, wire together. The brain builds shortcuts, emotional habits, default moods. When sadness is repeated, it stops being just a reaction. It becomes a pattern, a place your mind can reach without effort. And once a pattern forms, chemistry follows. When you enter a familiar emotional state, the brain releases regulating chemicals that stabilize your internal world. They don't make you happy. They make you consistent, predictable, internally organized. That sense of emotional organization is powerful because the nervous system is addicted not to pleasure, but to coherence. Sadness slows the body, narrows attention, softens external noise. It creates a quiet, contained inner space. And for many people, that space feels strangely safe. Not because it feels good, because it feels known. There's another layer. Your brain doesn't just store memories of events. It stores memories of emotional climates. If you spent long periods of life feeling emotionally alone, misunderstood, unseen, or quietly overwhelmed, your nervous system adapted to that environment. It learned how to function there, how to think there, how to be someone there. Over time, sadness didn't just become an emotion. It became part of your emotional identity. And psychology shows that once an emotion becomes linked to identity, the brain begins protecting it, seeking it, recreating it, not out of weakness, out of self-consistency. Some people's nervous systems are tuned toward stimulation and novelty. They feel alive in movement, excitement, intensity. Others are tuned toward depth, introspection, and emotional nuance. They experience the world from the inside first. Meaning, memory, and emotional texture shape how reality feels. If you're wired this way, emotions are not background noise. They are the environment. For these minds, sadness can feel like depth, complexity, realness, a place where thoughts become clearer and the inner world becomes richer. And neuroscience shows that when the brain predicts an emotional state and then enters it, it releases reinforcing chemicals. Not because the emotion is pleasant, but because the prediction was correct. The brain rewards itself for being right. So if your mind expects emotional weight and then finds it, a subtle sense of internal resolution occurs. That's how sadness becomes self-reinforcing. Research into emotional regulation shows that repeatedly engaging with melancholic memories, emotional imagery, or internal narratives strengthens the circuits associated with those states. Over time, the baseline of the nervous system shifts. Sadness stops being an episode. It becomes a tone. But there's a deeper layer still. Sadness often opens the door to meaning. When you're sad, you reflect. You search. You replay. You connect emotional dots. You think about who you are, what happened, what people meant, what you lost, what shaped you. For some people, sadness is the emotion where they feel most aware of themselves. And if earlier in life, emotional heaviness was the place where you were most noticed, most inwardly alive, or most connected to others or to yourself, then sadness may have been the place where your inner world first made sense. So your brain didn't just learn sadness, it learned you inside sadness. Balanced psychology matters here. A mind drawn to emotional depth is not broken. Sensitivity is not pathology. Introspection is not dysfunction. Some nervous systems expand outward. Others explore inward. Neither is superior. The problem begins only when one emotional state becomes the only place the nervous system knows how to rest. Because then sadness isn't chosen. It's defaulted to. And maybe as you listen, something becomes clearer. Maybe you've noticed that when life becomes quiet, or neutral, or emotionally open, something inside you reaches back, starts remembering, starts replaying, starts re-entering that familiar internal atmosphere. Not because you want to hurt, but because part of your nervous system recognizes that place as home. And once you see that, sadness stops feeling like a mystery. It starts feeling like a habit your brain learned to survive. And understanding that doesn't remove the sadness, but it changes your relationship to it. It shows you that your emotional world is not random. It was shaped, and it can be reshaped. And if this felt familiar, there's another psychological layer worth exploring. Why some people feel empty even when nothing is wrong. If this helped you understand your mind, subscribe for deeper psychology stories exploring the hidden patterns shaping your thoughts and emotions.